Hello guys, welcome back to another Hardware Canucks review. Today we're taking a look at Antec's new flagship in their gaming series, introducing the 1100 mid-tower. Now we've noticed a trend for most case manufacturers who release a chassis classified as a mid-tower, but in reality the sizing is close to a full tower. And the 1100 is no exception, a fairly wide and tall case that could be in the full tower family. The case rings in at $130. This is sort of a blend between Antec's 900 and the 1200 chassis, both of which are widely popular due to their enthusiast-friendly options. So let's find out if this 1100 brings anything new to the market and how competitive it really is. The front panel features your audio, 2 regular USB ports and 2 USB 3 ports, along with your power and reset buttons at the top. However, the placement of these buttons may cause issues when placed in more confined areas within a desk. The USB 3 ports connect through an internal 20-pin connector, and unfortunately Antec does not provide USB 3 to USB 2 adapter, something we feel should be included if the case is USB 3 ready, leaving the front USB ports unused if you do not own a compatible motherboard. Moving on, the front panel has 3 5¼ drive bays, all with dust filters, along with a removable dual dust filter for the optional 120mm fans for the front. Now again, something we feel has become a standard for the enclosure market are the included front intake fans, which are missing from this 1100. It's always nice to showcase the internal components while utilizing the extra cooling from the side panel, and that's exactly what Antec went for, being able to mount 2 120mm fans to cool your graphics card while not interfering with the CPU heatsink. At the back, Antec includes a fan controller, being able to connect 3 fans with low, medium and high speeds, then an exhaust fan, I/O area, 9 ventilated PCI slots, water cooling holes and a bottom mounted power supply, with a removable dust filter that you can easily access from the side and no longer have to reach from the back. The case is also elevated by about an inch from the ground to provide the airflow for your power supply. The other side panel is not flat, and that gives extra room for cable management at the back and also leaves enough room to mount an optional 120mm fan. On the top panel, a 200mm blue LED fan is included, but unfortunately no mounting options for anything smaller, so right off the bat no native support for dual rad for internal water cooling. This chassis does have support for extra large ATX motherboards, so this means an oversized CPU backplate opening and rubber grommets around the motherboard tray for routing your cables, and a hard drive cage along with a toolless mounting mechanism for your optical drives. The mounting for the 3.5-inch drives is simple, just attach the 2 brackets to the drive and slide it into the cage. The case also has support for 2 2.5-inch drives, but a more convenient mounting system for SSDs in any chassis would be to use a backward compatible drive bay that fits both 3.5 and 2.5-inch drives. This means the user can be flexible with their storage needs and is not limited by dedicated drive bays. Unfortunately, not the case with this 1100. Moving on, the hard drive cage can support 2 120mm fans to provide additional airflow for the internals. Now, a really neat mounting system is in place for those fans, using no screws but clips that hold the fan sturdy to the cage. A really convenient mounting method to avoid any hassle during assembly. Now, Antec did focus on making cable routing as easy as possible, including quality rubber grommets all around the motherboard tray, with cable tie mounting options and large cutouts at the top for routing your CPU connection. And all of this with 36mm of spacing between the motherboard tray and the side panel. Now, this is plenty of room for a powerful build that not only will clean up nicely but also a breeze to organize. Now, finally putting our system into the 1100, as you can see, all the components fit like they should, with ton of room to work with. And to no surprise, cable clutter is non-evident, thanks for all the room available for cable management. Graphics cards in length of 13 inches can fit into the case, and that is with the fan installed onto the hard drive cage. That's excellent to utilize the additional cooling while not sacrificing on the GPU compatibility. And finally, the oversized CPU backplate opening allows the access to your CPU cooler if you need it without taking out the entire motherboard. Overall, the Antec 1100 is a decent chassis for enthusiasts that doesn't wow us with its aesthetic looks, but instead provides a good balance between simplicity and aggressiveness. Having lots of cooling options with great cable management with 36mm of spacing to work with. And support for long graphics cards is becoming a must for all chassis that wants to stay competitive. On the downside, only 2 fans are included, and for the price of $130, maybe the front fans should have been included as well. While the case is USB 3 ready, Antec does not provide the adapter for those who do not own a compatible motherboard, and since the top of the case only supports 200mm fan, no native internal water cooling options for such a large case. So with the introduction of this new flagship in their gaming series, Antec managed to deliver a functional and practical chassis for gamers that does carry some flaws with it. But all in all, it is a feature-packed chassis with ton of room on the inside, which makes it a pleasure to work with. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next one.